What are some very creepy facts? Female mummies in ancient Egypt were always more decomposed than their male counterparts. They discovered that this was because male bodies were embalmed a lot sooner than female bodies. Female bodies were kept at the family home until they started to decompose in order to avoid necrophilia at the embalmers. Well, that escalated quickly. After getting stung by a cone snail, you don't feel the sting for a little bit. There is no anti-venom and it can be lethal. Treatment is basically keeping the victim alive until the venom wears off. Cone snails are pretty freaky. Some of the most deadly ones can kill you in 30 minutes or less after they sting you. Their shells are super pretty too, so any beachcomber should be aware of these creatures and know how to pick up a shell carefully just in case someone might still be inside. Is it super intelligent, immortal, and trying to touch me? This comment is blowing up way more than I expected it to. Holy shit. Thank you for the silver, Mr. Stranger Man. One reason that crows and ravens are associated with death is because they would often follow armies as they marched to battle. Being both carrion birds and extremely intelligent, they realized that a large group of armed men marching on one direction meant that there would be a tasty meal of corpses to eat soon afterwards. That's actually pretty neat. I'd like to subscribe to Crow Facts, thanks. Blob fish in its natural habitat looks like a normal fish, but it lives so deep underwater that it doesn't use a normal gas bladder to keep itself balanced. Instead, it has a spongy skin that is slightly less dense than water, which becomes damaged and bloated when fishermen bring it up too quickly. It's not really the ugliest fish. It has just experienced something worse than one of us being thrown into outer space. Between sea level and space, there's 1 atmospheric pressure of difference. Between sea level and 2,000 feet underwater, their upper limit, there's 60 atmospheres of difference. Now I'm sad for the blob fishes. When you happen to be murdered, there is only an about 40% chance that your murderer will be found and punished. Edit: a lot of people are asking which country I'm referring to. This is a worldwide approximation. There are obviously countries with higher percentages of solved murder cases, but also some with even lower. For example, in the US there is a 40% chance to get away with murder, in Mexico 90% to get away with it. Organized crime, the overall amount of crimes in that area, and war plays a huge role in this. Thanks for the encouragement. Locusts aren't a type of animal, they're a condition some grasshoppers experience. Many species of grasshoppers become locusts when they're too crowded, literally their legs rubbing together triggers the change. Once grasshoppers start to swarm, they will join up with others, physically grow larger, change color, and eat basically anything they find. Most of a swarm will be born as part of the swarm. Increased mating is part of swarm behavior. This is why it often seems like locust swarms come out of nowhere. Edit: whoa, this blew up. Thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert and my Wikipedia level understanding was super lacking for a post with this many eyes on it. Here are some corrections that have been brought to my attention in the comments. A very small % of grasshopper species swarm, and not all those that do undergo physical changes. Your garden variety grasshopper is probably harmless. Especially if you're in NA where there's only one species that swarms and it's super rare. Grasshoppers who do swarm are often called locusts even when not swarming. It's less of a grasshoppers catch locust situation and more of a there are a subset of grasshoppers called locusts who swarm. Thank you to everyone who pointed out mistakes in my original. Add in the amount of calories they need to stay airborne, and in addition to devouring acres upon acres of crops, they also cannibalize each other in the air. If you begin to display symptoms of rabies, you will go crazy and die. There's no cure. Your brain will slowly melt until you're dead. Second you get bitten by anything, you should literally speed to the hospital. Unless you don't notice because you were bitten by a tiny infected bat with tiny teeth. You didn't feel the pinch because it happened while you were asleep in a hammock outside. Serial killer Richard Chase took any unlocked door as an invitation to come inside. This is the example I use every time my husband keeps the door unlocked. Crocodiles can gallop like a horse. I don't like knowing this, so I am cursing you people with this knowledge as well. Fortunately alligators cannot. So that's how you tell them apart. Yep, but now I'm confused how to tell a horse and crocodile apart. In the US, if someone is kidnapped and not found within about a day, then there is a 97% chance the kidnapped person is dead. And 3/4 of them are killed within the first 3 hours of their abduction. That's why it's so important to go the police right away, and for the cops to actually act immediately instead of waiting 24/48/72 hours. Edit: I'm not sure where that myth of wait X hours to notify the police came from, but I've heard so many missing persons cases where the police wouldn't act for a day or two unless there was serious evidence of foul play because they're an adult and it's not illegal for an adult to go missing. Or the teenager is with friends somewhere. Or they're a runaway. Children under the age of 12 always get priority, but older ones tend to come with excuses. Valuable time wasted leads to valuable lives wasted. Sad face.